So, Laura, I'm super excited about this particular recording. Go ahead, ask me why.
Why, Jared?
I'm glad you asked. So, we get to have, as part of our podcast, somebody that we have had the privilege of working with, spending time with, sharing churns with in the school setting. And she has agreed to come chit-chat with us. And I'm super excited about that. Would you like to introduce her?
Sure. So on the line here, is that we call it still on the
We
line?
can.
It's on the computer, but okay. So we have the first grade teacher which is a first grade teacher that we worked with for many years. And she was actually implemental. Is that the right word? Implemental?
Instrumental?
Instrumental. There we go. See, Lane, you don't have to worry about it. I mess up all the time.
See, look, you already said her name before introducing her.
I know. Instrumental in actually the inclusion process of our kids. She came to us and said, "Hey, let me have that one. Can I have that one for a little while in my classroom? And what about this one? Can that one come too? Well, can they come a little bit more? Well, how about a little bit more?" And so that just opened that whole realm of inclusion. So we have, for the past several years, shared many students. And so this is Lane Limpert, and she has experience. She is a general education teacher that has much experience working with special education students and of all abilities. And she also is a parent of a child with special needs as well. So we kind of get we're double dipping here because she's got some great insight on how to include our kids in the general education classroom. And she also has insight on how a parent can get their child included in the classroom with their typically developing peers.
So, Miss Limpert, how are you doing?
I'm fine. I'm so glad you guys let me come on here tonight.
So, first things first, what is your deepest, darkest secret? Go. Never mind. Nope. Now, you know that is a question that if we ever get your principal on here with us, I will not ask her because I feel like she would go ahead and tell the world. And I'm going to leave it at that. No names, no nothing else. Just. All right. So we're going to have a chit chat about inclusion. Now, Laura and I can get on here and we can talk all day long about kids needing to be included with their peers, all of that. We can do it till we're blue in the face. But sometimes when somebody hears it from somebody else, it clicks. And so we're going to have a quick discussion about that, about inclusion. And I got to tell you, so your name has kind of become a descriptor for us. Like we're like, all right, so who on the kindergarten team will be our Limpert? Who on the third grade team is going to be our Limpert? So that you are like the lens that we view everybody through, but no pressure.
Okay.
So if you don't mind, can you kind of give us a little bit of an idea of what it was that, because like Laura said, I mean, you wanted to spend time with our students. It wasn't necessarily like we went after you and we're begging you to spend time with them. What is it that kind of caused you to want to have them in your classroom?
Well, so I just loved them, and I would just see them and talk to them, and they would talk to me. We built a little relationship together, and I was like, you know what? Like, why can't they come with us to recess? And why can't they come with us to resource? Or why don't they come for Fun Friday or something fun? Because their peers are here. Let's take them over. So then I just kind of started asking Miss Curtis, like, hey, do you mind if I like borrow your student for Fun Friday? Like, I think they would really enjoy this activity. And so she let me. And so then we just kind of kept going from there. But I just saw those babies and just wanted to build a relationship with them.
Well, and it certainly did snowball. It went from one student to, I don't know, I think we were sending like 3 or 4 at one time or something like that. And
yeah, I think we had like 4 come in during resource, which that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
So So what did you see? Now, let me ask you this, Miss Limpert. How long have you been a teacher?
Oh my goodness, 19 years.
Fantastic. You are, and I mean this in the most respectful way, you are an oddity. Like, I'm reading all the time these papers about people bailing on the teaching field because it's hard. And Laura brings up a lot. I mean, it was hard prior to COVID, but then after that, it added just a whole nother layer. So thank you for being willing to do all of that, because it ain't the easiest job in the world.
And we know you're not there for the money.
I'm just there for the babies.
Right.
We know that.
So over the course of your 19 years, what would you say were some key benefits that you've observed in students who participate in your classroom that typically aren't in your classroom?
Well, I noticed, do you want me to talk about like socially?
Hey, you talk about whatever you want to. Within reason.
So socially, I noticed like my friends who were coming, they were learning how to interact with their neurotypical peers. They were building relationships with them. They were building confidence. I mean, I had a student that came to me and had a great relationship with another student in my class, and they communicated in a different way than using words all the time. And that was beneficial to both of those students because, they were both learning from each other. So socially, I just really feel like they were building relationships. Am I rambling?
No, ma'am, you're good.
Okay. So, they were building relationships with other students. They're learning from other students. They're being able to communicate with those students, building confidence and their self-esteem. Those are some things that I noticed.
Well, and we've even seen, as a testament to what you're talking about, we've seen relationships that were forged in your classroom that are still happening today. Like, these students will see each other from each side of the cafeteria, and of course it's our student that'll be the one that yells out to the other one, but they're still there. And so what you've done, and any teacher that does provide that inclusion space with the heart that you're talking about, I want to see these children become everything that they possibly can, whatever that means. How can we help them do that? And it's something that is stretched beyond your classroom. It's stretched beyond a single year in school. I know we had one parent tell us of a student that went to you that they were just blown away at how many people, like how many kids knew their child, and it all stemmed from that, being a part of that group.
Right, because it's not just about my friends who are coming for part of the day. It's also about my friends that are with me all day. They're also learning new things from our other friends.
Absolutely.
And I know we tried things a little different last year than we had before too. We did more of that inclusion from day one, from the get-go, first thing in the morning, day one. And so this is kind of off script a little bit, but what did you see the difference in benefits as far as starting from the day one to just the, hey, once you come on Friday?
So just looking back at those years, so when my friends started coming on the very first day of school, there was no difference. They had the students that were in my room all day had no idea that these friends were any different than them. They like, oh, they're coming in. We have another adult in here for a little while. And look how fun this is. Look at these new friends. And they were more accepting. And they built better relationships with those students. And that makes my heart happy that they're
absolutely
together in those little relationships.
Yes, it's really neat to see.
But that's what I really noticed was relationships were formed and they were a part of our class. That it was never like, oh, we need to, like, oh, we have to go get them or whatever. It was like, when are they coming? We have to have them in our room. They need to do this with us. Like it was more student driven rather than teacher driven, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because there's a big difference between teacher driven and student driven. You know that probably better than we do. But it is not out of the realm of possibility that a teacher, and for whatever reason, like they may just not understand, not be trained in dealing with students that have different exceptionalities. But there are teachers that don't want anything to do with them, and not from a nasty like I can't stand that kid or anything like that, but I don't know how to help him. So if I'm a teacher that feels that way, like having a special education or special needs student in my classroom causes my anxiety to skyrocket. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to approach them. I don't know. What are some strategies or ideas or maybe even a mindset that you would recommend to that teacher?
Well, for strategies, like my first thing would be I feel like you guys, the courtesy, and myself, had a great relationship, and I could go to you and say, hey, what can I do to help? Or how can I have this child be more successful? What are some strategies I can implement? So I really feel like being able to talk to the special education teacher, have a little co-teaching going on, if that's possible. You have a co-teacher almost every year, and I love it. So have a co-teacher, a little collaboration. Those are some important things. And I mean, I don't know, maybe my mindset is different, but these are children. They want to be a part of this. I want them to be a part of it. I need to adapt myself to help them be in my room so that they are successful. I don't know. Does that help?
See, yeah, and I promise, listen, to everybody that's listening to this, which is pretty much my mom. I don't know if anybody else listens to it, but she enjoys it.
I'm pretty sure other people do because I didn't do it. Other people do.
We didn't tell you what to say. Okay, so you're echoing a lot of things that we've said over and over. And one of the things that we've seen in our study and in our research is what you were just talking about, the collaboration piece. People being willing to talk to each other, to work with each other, to support each other for that common goal, which is let's help this child be everything that they can be.
Yeah, absolutely. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, and also I know last year you guys sent a support person during that time that my friends were able to be with us. And that was also very helpful because she was able to say like, oh, if you do this, or maybe try this, or, I might say to her like, oh, I don't know. Like I wasn't supposed to like take the little things.
Right.
She's like, no, it's fine.
There are no more things this year. No more things.
No more things.
Oh, okay. So like, but she was like very, and it prevented problems that could have occurred. And she's like, yeah, that's fine. Like, it's not, I'm like, oh, okay. I just didn't know. So it was very helpful to have that support person there. And then, there were times that I didn't even need her there, even though I wanted her all the time. But she would be like, I can't come at this time, but my friends can come. And so then I knew how to make the room successful for them. Does that make sense?
It does.
Absolutely.
Always the support of everyone else around who can help.
Ain't that the truth though? Like the more people you can have on the same page as you, on the same team as you, I think everybody wins.
I agree. Especially our friends.
Oh, yes. So, we talked about some of the effective strategies in helping. What are some of the challenges that you've had when trying to make the inclusive classroom?
Oh, Lord. Okay. So I wrote some notes about this. Like some of the things, like I think I mentioned, like there were things that I didn't know and I needed to ask about that. Like, okay, what about this? How do I work around this? And then a lot of like, again, working with the co-teachers, talking to you guys. I feel like I just got off track.
I don't know why. I mean, you're just like, oh, you're just a teacher, right? I mean, your job's a cakewalk during the day. You can't just come in here and.
I know. I'm sure all our brains are probably mush right now.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine.
I guess, like some things that helped me, like lots of differentiated instruction. Always, no matter what. That's every day. And so that was very beneficial to help with that inclusive classroom and just knowing what they can do and how to help them move along and succeed further. Lots of like scaffolding.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm supposed to be telling you guys.
Yep.
I keep train of thought. Visual aids like schedules, those kind of things, so they would know like this is what is happening now and this is what will happen next. And then I did do pairing like with other students, like, okay, you remind our friends to blah blah blah, whatever it might be, like your Chromebook or to log in anyway. So those were some things that I felt were helpful in the classroom.
So like some of the challenges, or how do you teach them? Right. So, so those are the strategies that you use.
I'm so sorry.
No, that's fine.
Giving you all the strategies I was using.
Right. No, you answered the second part, because the second part, was how did you do those? Yeah. So it's difficult to instruct students with so much vast
abilities.
Yes, abilities. Yeah, their abilities are vast. There's differences in that, and so those are some of the things that you use to address that.
Yes, I'm sorry.
No,
and I knew, I was like, I just lost my train of thought.
No. What did you? And we see this sometimes, and we hear this, and I know that we've had conversations during meetings about that whole fair. Did you have kids in the classroom going, well, that's not fair. How come so-and-so gets this? Or how come so-and-so why can't I have that when they can?
No? I never, because I implemented at the beginning of the year, even every year, I've always said, fair is not equal. Fair is everyone getting what they need. And I never had anyone say, well, that's not fair. Well,
that's absolutely true. Yep.
One of my favorite things to do is when a student says that's not fair is, can you tell me what fair means? And they can't. They just look at me like, no, that's not what you're supposed to say.
But yeah, so I did not run.
Well, and that's the way to address it. Just like if you did have that, and just by telling them, but we get what we need, and not everything we want, and we don't always need everything somebody else has. And
I think that's one of the big benefits of inclusion is when our friends start at the beginning of the year with us, then there never is any question of like, oh, why are they getting that and I'm not, or that's not fair. Again, I always say that every year. Fair is not equal. Fair is everyone getting what they need. So I've never really had anybody say anything about that.
That's great.
Well, and that's something that we even realized this year because, even as an educator, it's a continual learning process. And we've learned that especially when it comes to special education, that it is a continuum. You're all the time looking to see what's going to be the next step for each individual, and being flexible and willing to. Our whole thing is this a hill I'm willing to die on? Right? Is this something that am I ready to? It's got to be really important if I'm going to put myself all into it, and we really do appreciate your perspective and what you've done with our students. So here we go. Ready?
Oh gosh.
I got another question. No, this one should be. Who did I hear?
Did he know you were getting ready to talk about him?
I don't know. Well, I wasn't, but we can do that. So,
I'm sorry. I thought that's where you were headed.
No, I was just going to throw out this last question. You go ahead, Mrs. Curtis.
Oh. Well, part of this goes from, so we talked about you being a first grade teacher. Do you feel like there's benefits at starting the inclusion process early and versus waiting till they're a little more, independent and mature and maybe have better behaviors? And what are your thoughts on that?
I think it should start as early as possible. Like, I think we should have inclusion start in pre-K or kindergarten whenever those students enter school, because I think we've talked about this before, you model peer behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And so if there is a behavior, they might see those other friends modeling appropriate behavior, and then that would, they would begin to model appropriate behavior as well. But yes, I think it should start immediately. Kindergarten, pre-K, whenever students start. Lawson, my son, started pre-K, regular ed pre-K last year. And just so many benefits for him. So yes, I think it should start immediately when children start school. Mr. Curtis is like, wrap it up.
No, not at all.
No, we're good.
Hey, listen, you're preaching to the choir. We're, back here singing the hallelujahs or whatever. But no, and just so you know that the Department of Education agrees with you. So, like, coming down from the federal government, I just want to throw that out there. So you're on to something there, Miss Limpert.
Okay.
Now, Lawson? Who's Lawson?
That's my baby.
Yeah.
So
we know who he is.
Lawson is my 6-year-old, or he will be 6 in February. So soon he will turn 6, and he is in kindergarten this year, and he is autistic.
So then you have yet another perspective when it comes to our students, not just the special education students that spend time with you in your classroom, in your general education classroom, but you've seen the effects personally with your own son.
Oh, yes.
Do you mind sharing with us some of the things that you've seen, the benefits of him? You've mentioned that there are benefits. What have you seen in Lawson in the time that he's been able to go from a special education setting to?
I'm sure y'all hear him in the background.
That's quite all right.
So,
hey, listen, if that was the worst that we could hear, we're A-okay.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all good.
So he was in special education pre-K, and then when he turned 4, I was like, you know what? If I don't try putting him in the regular education program, like, he's still going to receive all of his IEP services.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm going to try it. I am going to see. And you guys work with special education students, so you know that most 5-year-old autistic children do not pretend play. And I agree that all play, it doesn't matter the way you play, it's all play. But he never did pretend play. And probably about 4 months after school started, like, he was coming home and getting like toys out that you would have to pretend. And I'm like, the people talk and like do whatever. So he was starting to do pretend play, and he was able to sit and listen to a teacher read a story, and he could answer, basic comprehension questions about it. He was accepted by his peers. He still jumps up and claps and does those things in the room. But no one is like, why are you doing that? Because that's just who
Lawson.
he is. And the other children are like, oh yeah, that's him. It's no big. They move on about the day. He's also a Gestalt language processor. And so he's in like stage 5 right now. So he's close to moving into 6. And even this year, just listening to him talk, like he's having conversations that he would have never had before. And I always say, I remember when my older boys, I have 2 older boys, they would say like, Mom, look, watch this, look. And I think I can remember one time that Lawson said that to me, but this school year, he said it multiple times, like, Mommy, look at this, or look at my work. Like, he'll show me stuff. So that's all, like, he would have never done that if he was not with those peers and his special education team and his regular education team. So those are my benefits.
All right. And what did you have to do to get him from the small group special education classroom into the general education classroom?
So he was in Babies Can't Wait before he turned 3. He turned 3, and I did put him in special education pre-K. And like I said, that second year, I was like, he's 4, I'm going to try it. And so we just had to have an IEP meeting. So we had an IEP meeting. We met with the IEP team, and I said, look, I want him here. Like, I'm driving this meeting. I'm the one in control. This is where I want him. I want to try it. If it doesn't work, we can go back.
Right.
So that is what I did. And then, again, like, he does have supports in place this year because he does need someone with him at lunch. And he does need someone with him during the day for about a 30-minute block during like a writing time.
Right.
So those things are in place. But other than that, that's how we did it. I drove that meeting and I said, this is what I want and this is how I want it done. And if it doesn't work, we can revisit and regroup and make up another plan that's going to be the most beneficial for him.
But we have to try.
Yes, we always have to try.
Always have to try, because if you don't know.
That is correct.
Right. And I know that you talked about the behaviors, and it's not always the case, but however, there's, when there's a special education small group classroom, there's typically behaviors that come along with that. Not always, but typically. And so I know we've spoken before, and you said, well, if he's going to mimic behaviors, where do you want him to be?
With his neurotypical peer.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And so if somebody's listening to this and they don't get anything else out of this conversation, which I want to say thank you for being willing to talk to us about all this. It's really has been great.
I really do enjoy it. I'm sorry I went on tangents.
But what I would want a listener to take, if they can only take one thing, is that, like you said, I love the way you put it. You drive the bus, parent. If you want to try it, try it. It doesn't matter what anybody else says. If you want to try it, try it. And there's no shame in trying and going back. I don't want to say going back, because that it's not what it is. It's okay. So then we'll move to this other setting.
It's just finding the best setting for your child. And if you don't try and give them the opportunity, you will never know. And as a team, you have a whole team of people to help you set your child up for success.
Absolutely.
Yep. And that's one thing that we can say, both having boys that have gone through the our school system is that we have some fantastic teachers in this district, and I am willing to bet that there's fantastic teachers in every district, and that any parent that feels like their son or daughter should have an opportunity to at least try it out, push for that, because there's people in those buildings that love your kid too.
Yes, people you don't even know.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
So I think that's about it. Miss Limpert, did you have anything else you wanted to say?
No, thank you guys for having me on here, and I miss seeing you every day.
We miss seeing you too, and thanks for coming on. And you were our first guest, so we think, yeah. So
well, you're at the top of the list.
I get my little reward now, my little treat.
There you go. We'll say, hey, be checking the school mail. We'll send it over. All right. So for this episode, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Again, thank you, Miss Limpert, for hanging out with me and my fantastic wife, Laura. And we'll talk to you guys later.